1 minute ago, judge issues arrest warrants for J-Lo. After Ben Affleck testifies in Diddy's federal trial, viewer discretion is advised. What follows is a series of legal and personal revelations that have pulled some of Hollywood's most recognizable names into the federal spotlight. On the heels of a widening investigation into Sean "Diddy" Combs, the courtroom saga took a dramatic turn when actor Ben Affleck unexpectedly took the stand, his testimony indirectly implicating Jennifer Lopez in events linked to a 1999 nightclub shooting. Federal prosecutors are now reportedly re-examining the incident in which rapper Moses Michael Barrow, known as Shine, was convicted and served nearly a decade in prison. The question being asked now loudly and from multiple corners is whether Lopez's role in the incident was misrepresented or buried altogether. According to reopened testimony and resurfaced records, Lopez was with Diddy the night of the shooting. Initial reports suggested she had no involvement, but the emergence of contradictory eyewitness accounts and sworn depositions point to the possibility of her active participation. Allegations include helping Diddy dispose of a firearm and giving false statements that may have diverted responsibility. While no formal charges have yet been filed against Lopez, law enforcement sources indicate she is now under serious review. One former security operative close to the investigation commented, "This isn't about clout chasing, it's about long-suppressed truths finally breaking the surface." Ben Affleck's name entered the case under unexpected circumstances. His relationship with Lopez had been celebrated as a second-chance romance, but behind the scenes, insiders suggest tension erupted when Affleck allegedly viewed sealed federal evidence, including surveillance footage from Diddy's properties. Sources claim the tapes allegedly featuring Lopez played a pivotal role in Affleck's abrupt withdrawal from the marriage. Meanwhile, federal prosecutors have reportedly been granted access to archived communications and financial records from Bad Boy Entertainment, Diddy's company, and its subsidiaries. These documents include NDAs, payment logs, and coded communications implicating high-profile individuals. Among those named, Lopez appears multiple times in the travel and incident logs now entered into the case file. Public backlash has grown steadily. Hashtags like J-Lo inducted and 1999 reopen trend daily. Legal analysts argue that if even part of these allegations prove valid, Lopez could face serious charges related to obstruction of justice, perjury, or accessory to a felony. Prosecutors are expected to seek additional witness testimony in the coming weeks. According to leaked documents, several former employees from Diddy's security and management teams have been placed under subpoena. At least one is prepared to testify that Lopez was involved in discussions about controlling narratives around the 1999 incident. Adding to the pressure, multiple insiders, including former security chief Gene Deal, allege that Diddy openly admitted he despised Shine and took deliberate steps to ensure his conviction. Deal stated, "They rigged that trial. Everyone involved knew Shine was the fall guy." Another layer of complexity stems from a shocking claim made by Jaguar Wright, who alleges that Diddy and Lopez may have quietly married in 1999 as a strategic legal move. If true, this union would have shielded Lopez from having to testify against Diddy due to spousal privilege. Though no official records confirm the marriage, Wright insists it occurred behind closed doors for exactly that reason. Speculation is growing that Lopez's sudden retreat from public life is no coincidence. She's missed scheduled appearances, declined interviews, and insiders whisper she's unreachable. As the Diddy trial barrels toward its May 2025 start date, the scope of the case expands almost daily. What began as an investigation into sexual abuse and trafficking has now become a sprawling inquiry involving Hollywood elites, music moguls, and decades-old crimes. And at its center is a question the public won't let go. What did Jennifer Lopez know, and when did she know it? By the second week of reopened filings in the Diddy case, federal investigators had begun connecting dots long thought lost in the haze of celebrity and time. At the center of this renewed scrutiny was not just Sean "Diddy" Combs, but his former partner Jennifer Lopez, whose presence at the 1999 nightclub shooting was once a footnote. It was no longer a side detail. Court records now confirm Lopez and Diddy were not only together that night, they were attempting to leave the scene when police intercepted their vehicle. Inside that SUV, officers found a discarded firearm tossed onto the pavement moments earlier. One witness claimed they saw a female hand throw the gun. For years, that detail was dismissed. Today, it's under renewed legal analysis. In sworn testimony presented behind closed doors, a retired NYPD detective admitted that early leads pointing to Lopez were intentionally deprioritized due to the pressure coming from above. The implication was clear: someone protected her. And the question now is who and why Shine, the then aspiring rapper who took the fall, is no longer silent. In a televised interview, he claimed Diddy had orchestrated a coordinated cover-up, pressuring witnesses to testify against him. He alleged Lopez's statement at the time, asserting Diddy never held the weapon, was knowingly false. She knew, Shine said plainly, and she said it anyway. In tandem with these developments, Cassie Ventura's explosive testimony has added chilling symmetry. Cassie claimed that Diddy, years after the nightclub shooting, handed her a loaded gun before a public event. Her voice shook as she described what she thought was a bizarre loyalty test. "He told me to hold it, like it was nothing." Federal prosecutors believe this establishes a behavioral pattern, using women as shields figuratively and literally. And if Lopez indeed did the same in 1999, the implications could extend far beyond a single criminal count. Back in Los Angeles, where Lopez has recently gone, radio silent whispers suggest her team is bracing for indictment. She's missed back-to-back high-profile appearances. Paparazzi who once followed her every move now report she's gone underground. Even more unsettling is the alleged reason behind Ben Affleck's recent departure from their marriage. According to insiders, Affleck viewed unsealed surveillance footage during a federal briefing, a privilege granted because of his brief cooperation with the investigation. What he reportedly saw devastated him. One source close to Affleck said he had no idea. It was like watching a different person. Affleck's abrupt move into a separate Brentwood property and his request for privacy aligned almost precisely with the timeline of the FBI raid on Diddy's estate and the public reveal of the tapes. Coincidence maybe, but it hasn't gone unnoticed. Meanwhile, legal experts warn that even if Lopez escapes direct criminal charges, her name appearing in sealed federal exhibits and under oath testimony could permanently damage her credibility. Entertainment lawyers have already advised their A-list clients to suspend any upcoming joint ventures with her. Public pressure is intensifying. Former collaborators are distancing themselves. A national campaign urging media outlets to hold Lopez accountable has gained traction using the hashtag #JusticeForShine. One legal analyst summarized it bluntly on MSNBC: if even half of what's been alleged is proven. Jennifer Lopez isn't just a witness, she's a participant. By week's end, congressional aides hinted at a larger review of celebrity involvement in historical obstructions cases, possibly launching a formal inquiry into how wealth and fame have enabled individuals to evade justice for decades. As Part 2 closes, one thing is clear: the 1999 incident is no longer buried in the past. It's a live wire running directly through the center of a scandal, threatening to engulf some of the most untouchable names in entertainment. By now, federal investigators had stopped treating the 1999 shooting as an isolated nightclub incident. It was clear they were dealing with the foundation of an empire built on silence, loyalty, and perhaps criminal complicity. And Jennifer Lopez was no longer being described as a bystander. Part of the pressure came from a new angle. Rodney "Lil Rod" Jones, a former insider within Diddy's operations, who had filed a lawsuit alleging Lopez had once smuggled a firearm into the very nightclub where the shooting took place. The implications were stunning. If true, Lopez wasn't just near the crime, she helped orchestrate its concealment. His complaint cited not only the gun's presence, but Lopez's alleged actions immediately following the incident, aiding in disposing of evidence and corroborating a false narrative. Legal analysts said the document, though civil in nature, provided prosecutors with significant breadcrumbs. The credibility of the claim gained further traction after a former Bad Boy Records driver, now under witness protection, gave a deposition asserting Lopez identified Shine as the shooter to law enforcement within minutes of being questioned. She pointed at him, the witness stated. Didn't hesitate. If Shine was innocent, this wasn't a mistake. It was a betrayal. Meanwhile, murmurs about an informal marriage between Diddy and Lopez at the time of the shooting resurfaced. While no official license has ever been discovered, Jaguar Wright, the whistleblower turned industry informant, remains adamant. They married so she couldn't testify. It wasn't about love, it was about silence. Adding complexity to the narrative, Cassie Ventura's continuing testimony expanded the profile of Diddy's behavioral patterns. Her descriptions of freak-off parties, highly orchestrated sexual events, allegedly involving intoxicated participants, hidden surveillance, and coerced acts drew disturbing parallels to claims involving Lopez. According to one new witness, a woman identified only as Misha Lopez was present at one such event. I looked her in the eyes, she testified, when everything was happening, and she said nothing. Did nothing. That testimony was entered into the record late Thursday. By Friday morning, federal agents were reportedly combing through digital archives for corroborating video. Multiple encrypted hard drives seized from Diddy's residences are now in the hands of a joint task force comprising the FBI and DHS cybercrime units. Investigators believe these drives may contain decades of footage, much of it raw and much of it featuring high-profile individuals. Sources close to the probe say the footage is being categorized, tagged, and used to establish behavioral timelines. Lopez's name, they confirm, appears in at least 3 directory folders. And then came the game changer. In what one prosecutor described as a bombshell moment, a 2016 internal memo from Bad Boy Security was revealed in court. It referenced Code J and Priority 5, shorthand for Jennifer Lopez, and VIP status, alongside a red flag warning, no footage retention. The memo was dated weeks before a major private event, hosted at one of Diddy's Miami estates, an event now under federal scrutiny. With this document in hand, the narrative changed again. Prosecutors weren't just alleging past misdeeds. They were now alleging active destruction of evidence. Jennifer Lopez's team remains silent. No press conferences, no denials, not even a statement of legal cooperation. Insiders claim her PR and legal squads are in full lockdown. And a recent sighting in Monaco, where the U.S. holds no extradition treaty, only fueled further speculation. The press, meanwhile, is in overdrive. Investigative reporters have unearthed timelines, photos, and previously unpublished interviews that place Lopez in close proximity to Diddy during his most chaotic years. She wasn't just the glamorous girlfriend. She was there backstage in the cars at the parties. For now, the court of public opinion has rendered a verdict Lopez has questions to answer, serious ones. The actual court may soon demand the same. By now, the federal probe into Sean Diddy Combs had transformed into something far broader, a sprawling inquiry uncovering systemic abuse, concealed crimes, and the complicity of those who looked away, or worse, helped orchestrate the silence. And at the heart of it, Jennifer Lopez was no longer protected by plausible deniability. Federal sources confirmed that prosecutors had convened a special grand jury to consider whether obstruction of justice or perjury charges could be filed against Lopez in connection to the 1999 shooting. Her public absence was now matched by sealed subpoenas and quiet maneuvers behind closed courtroom doors. Meanwhile, the flow of new evidence had not slowed. A series of anonymous whistleblowers came forward, including a former entertainment attorney with first-hand knowledge of what insiders called Operation Clean Night, a damage control strategy deployed immediately after the 1999 shooting. The plan allegedly involved ghostwriters drafting statements, witness relocation, and payoff arrangements signed through shell entities. Lopez's name, the attorney said, was part of the original talking points file. She was instructed to downplay, to deny, and to divert. Court documents now reveal that one of the first NDAs issued after the incident was for a female stylist who worked with Lopez that week. She had witnessed the post-shooting scramble inside Diddy's apartment. Her settlement agreement, recently unsealed, included a gag clause that extended for 20 years. The stylist's affidavit was read in court. She looked panicked. She kept asking, "Do you think they'll know it was me who threw it?" While defense attorneys argue the statement lacks verification, prosecutors counter that the mounting pattern of such documents makes deniability increasingly untenable. The public's reaction has been no less dramatic. Street protests have erupted outside federal court buildings. Former fans have posted video compilations, online clips of Lopez denying knowledge of the shooting, juxtaposed with timelines and now confirmed facts. One video, which went viral, bore the caption, "From Bronx Girl to Federal Target." Even Hollywood has started to fracture. High-profile collaborators have scrubbed social media clean of photos with Lopez. A fragrance campaign scheduled for summer was quietly canceled. Several upcoming film projects are now listed as on indefinite hold. And then came the surveillance tapes, though still under federal protection and not released to the public. Sources confirmed that one recovered video shows Lopez entering one of Diddy's now infamous VIP suites alongside 3 other individuals, one of whom was later identified as a known participant in the freak-off gatherings described in Cassie Ventura's testimony. The footage reportedly shows Lopez seated drinking and watching as others engage in activities described in the ongoing lawsuits. While not participating directly, prosecutors say her presence may be enough to establish knowledge, and knowledge in this case is liability. In parallel developments, another witness has emerged. Identified in court as Monique R., she described witnessing Lopez and Diddy huddled together following the shooting, allegedly rehearsing responses before the police arrived. He told her to be cool, Monique recalled, said, "Just stick to the plan, it's already handled." When asked why she hadn't spoken earlier, Monique's answer was simple. "No one would have believed me back then. But now everyone's listening." As Part 4 concludes, prosecutors are moving swiftly. Travel logs are being subpoenaed. Communications from Lopez's camp during 1999 are being forensically recovered. Multiple legal analysts now predict she will be called to testify, if not voluntarily then, by compulsion. And in that moment, the woman once hailed as a global icon may have to answer for a very different legacy. As the federal grand jury nears its decision, all eyes remain on Jennifer Lopez. Once the embodiment of reinvention and resilience in pop culture, she now faces the prospect of being subpoenaed, perhaps even charged in what has become the most expansive celebrity-linked criminal case since the early 2000s. Sources close to the Department of Justice confirm that Lopez is officially considered a person of interest in connection with obstruction, conspiracy, and possible perjury linked to her statements about the 1999 nightclub shooting. And the timing couldn't be worse. This week, prosecutors unsealed testimony from a former event producer who worked with Lopez during her early 2000s press tour. His sworn account includes a chilling claim. Her team prepped her with answers. They knew there would be questions about the shooting. She was told to deflect, deny, smile. That facade polished to perfection over 2 decades now appears to be cracking. The final blow came in the form of a new deposition delivered by a former FBI consultant attached to the reopened case. The consultant described a forensic audit of the surveillance footage seized from Diddy's properties, revealing that Lopez appeared in 6 separate archived videos, each logged under the same internal code, Asset V. Shield. Shield prosecutors believe was shorthand for a known tactic employed by Diddy's inner circle, positioning female celebrities as buffers to distract, absorb, or deflect scrutiny. In each video, Lopez is reportedly seen entering or exiting secure rooms during events now under federal investigation for trafficking and coercion. One legal analyst put it plainly, if she knew if she witnessed and if she stayed silent, then she's part of the system. Social fallout has been swift and unforgiving. Former industry allies have distanced themselves. One A-list actress issued a statement reading, "Accountability matters. Silence enables abuse." Lopez, whose brand once banked on relatability and empowerment, is now facing a public relations crisis of existential proportions. Her inner circle remains tight-lipped. Multiple requests for comment have gone unanswered. Her legal team has filed preliminary motions to suppress any subpoena citing reputational harm and trial by media. But federal sources say the grand jury's direction is clear. If evidence continues on its current trajectory, charges could follow. The final question now looms, will Jennifer Lopez voluntarily cooperate? Or will she be compelled? Outside the courthouse, protesters have begun showing up with signs. One read, "You sang Jenny from the block, but who paid for the silence on the block?" Another simply said, "Shine deserved better." And perhaps the most haunting part of it all, Shine himself now, a respected political figure abroad, has remained calm but pointed. In a recent statement to international media, he said only, "Justice has its own rhythm. It just took a little longer to play." As Diddy's trial gears up for May 2025, with a legal earthquake already shaking the industry, the countdown begins. Not just for his verdict, but for the reckoning still circling around Jennifer Lopez. From superstardom to subpoenas, the fall from grace isn't just looming. It's already begun.